to talk to you about the cladding situation, because the Housing Secretary, Michael Gove, is going to unveil plans that we think as soon as Monday for a £4 billion grant scheme to pay for repairs demanded by banks and insurers in the wake of the Grenfell fire. It will help those living in buildings under 18 metres tall who've missed out on previous grants and been told to take out huge loans to remove the cladding. This is cladding similar or the same as the cladding that was on the Grenfell Tower, which you know was one of the worst, if not the worst, fires in Britain, with more than 70 people losing their lives. At least 116,000 flats in 7,500 blocks will benefit from this change, and it's the developers that the Housing Secretary will compel to pay this bill. Let's speak to William Martin, who's from the UK Cladding Action Group. Mr. Martin, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
It's a statement. It's clear. It's progress. It's £4 billion. Is it enough?
No, it's not enough, but it's a really welcome step. I mean, we've been campaigning for the last 4 years to make buildings post-Grenfell safe, and so it's a really welcome step, but it unfortunately does miss the mark on several points. The main one being that we seem to be fixated on cladding, and we know that many of these buildings that have got cladding on are plagued by a whole plethora of other problems. And the announcement doesn't seem to cover those. And I would argue that you can't make a building half safe.
It's astonishing, isn't it, that 4 years after Grenfell, in which 72 people lost their lives, this cladding has been identified in thousands of flats up and down the country, and people are still living with the nightmare that it's cladding their home. How do people sleep at night?
Well, the answer is they don't. And all of the evidence that's being presented to government on this and the impacts on people's mental health is that it's having a humongous effect on people. You know, people are struggling to sleep at night. For the last 4 years, we haven't been able to move on with our lives and are going to bed every night, laying just metres away from this unsafe cladding. So it's not only, we talk a lot about finances, and the headlines are saying, you know, people owe this much money to fix their flat, but the ultimate price that people are paying are people's mental health, not being able to move for work, not being able to start families. We're really, really having to bang our heads against the wall, 4 years on. And you talked there about the numbers of flats. Just as a measure, we still have got 193 buildings in the UK that are still not complete and have still not fully fixed the exact same cladding as Grenfell. So that's just the same type as Grenfell. And then beyond that, there are thousands that have got other dangerous cladding systems on them and a whole plethora of other problems. And I think we can announce money and, big announcements like this are great. But if the money's not being spent, if the work isn't being done, if the remediation isn't being done at the right pace, then we aren't really helping leaseholders. And we're just stuck in this misery, as you say, not being able to sleep at night. Michael Gove will spell out the details in the Commons on Monday. What is your understanding? How quickly is this money going to be made available to start stripping buildings like yours of this potentially lethal cladding? Well, I would hope that the fund opens up and applications are available for buildings under 18 metres, as you say, pretty sharpish. But as a measure, my building has got ACM cladding on, and that fund was announced over 2 years ago, and we're still not complete on the project to just remove the ACM cladding from my building. So this is a problem that's going to be with us for a long time. And that's inevitable. And what's so frustrating about these announcements is it's these dribs and drabs that have come over the last 4 years. And we seem to not be grasping the fact that the costs that are really crippling leaseholders are the waking watch costs, the 24-hour patrol that you have to have in your building. They're the costs for the insurance. People are facing, over 1,000% increases in their insurance on their building. So they're the costs, the day-to-day costs that need to be addressed by the government in addition to these things. And I want to be very clear to all of the people who are listening into this. We categorically are not asking for taxpayers' money for this. And that's represented by, I think, the announcement that is coming on Monday.
Yeah.
We want to hold those that are accountable fully to account.
Right, so that's William Martin from the UK Cladding Action Group. Just to be clear, Michael Gove will say that £4 billion is coming from the property developers, and quite right too. They put the wretched stuff up, didn't they?